Anyway. Uh, hello everyone! My name is Twisted Wings, Twisted Gaming. I have a lot of different things. How are you all today? I hope you're doing very well. I am going to be doing Minecraft Storytime. This is actually labeled Volume 3 because I went to the library today because I wanted to find a certain series to read to you guys. It's called The Wings of Fire. I will abbreviate it to capital W, lowercase o, capital F in my other things. So, basically, I'm going to be reading you one of my favorite series of all time on this channel. Now, I would like to say to everybody watching right now, if you haven't read The Dragonette Prophecy from Wings of Fire, do not listen to this reading, because this is book 2. Okay? This is not the first edition. They didn't have it at the library when I went to get it, so they put it on hold, so when it comes in, I can come and pick it up. This one that I have here is the second book. I just want to read it because I don't really have anything else to read unless I read this. So, once again, don't listen to this if you haven't read book 1, because if you do, then, well, you won't know what the fuck is going on, to be absolutely honest. Now, the cool thing about these books, I want to talk about them a little bit before I start reading. The cool thing about these books is I actually, I read them when I was in, I want to say middle school. It was like 4th grade, alright? I started reading these in 4th grade. Because I was obsessed with dragons at that point, and I loved the idea of reading about dragons, so I found this book by Tuit Sutherland, which I know that's probably not how you pronounce the name, but I don't care because I never really learned any other way to do it. I'm doing these because I think that would look a lot better. Sucks they don't connect, but, you know. Anyway, so, the cool thing about reading these books is I've already know everything about them, but I like them so much that I'm willing to read them a second time to you. Now, the other thing that I found absolutely amazing is that I have the 4th book in my house already. It's already done. I already have it. It's mine. I've never let anybody else read it. Like, it's mine and mine alone. So I think that that's really cool that I'll be able to have the book for when I want to read it. So, yeah. Anyway, so we should begin the reading. Now, I shall go down to my little thing here. I'll actually sit right there. Okay, so, let me pick up the book. Now, there is a prologue. So I'm gonna read that. Oh, and you guys might hear me mumble under my breath while I read this. I have a lot of feelings about this book. I love this book. So there's obviously some things that I don't, what's the word? There are some things that, tick me off really easily. Okay, so first I'm going to read, The Dragonette Prophecy, which is the actual prophecy instead of the first book. Okay. When the war has lasted 20 years, the dragonettes will come. Where the land is soaked in blood and tears, the dragonettes will come. Find the sea-wing egg of deepest blue, and wings of night shall come to you. The largest egg in mountain high will give to you the wings of sky. For wings of earth search through the mud for an egg the color of dragon blood, and hidden alone from the rival queens, the sandwing egg awaits unseen. Of 3 queens who blister, blaze, and burn, 2 shall die, and 1 shall learn. If she bows to a fate that is stronger and higher, she'll have the power of wings of fire. 5 eggs to hatch on brightest night, 5 dragons born to end the fight. Darkness will rise to bring the light. The dragonettes are coming. That's the dragonette prophecy. I love it. Okay, prologue. Underwater, Webbs couldn't hear the screams of dying dragons. Underwater, the battle was as far as the 3 moons. Fire couldn't touch him, talons couldn't scar him. The blood washed away from his scales. Underwater, he was safe. Safe and a coward. Still better the loyal, brave, and dead. Webbs shuddered awake. A catfish was staring at him blankly. Its whiskery tendrils drifted in the current. The expression on its face said, "Why is there a dragon sleeping on my river stones?" Webbs ate it, and that made him feel a little better. The Talons of Peace must know what's happened to the dragonettes by now, he thought. They have spies in the Skywing Palace. They don't need to hear it from me. The other Talons did not need him to stand up in front of them and say, "We failed." But where could he go? He was already hiding from his own tribe, the Sea Wings. Did he have to hide from the Talons of Peace for the rest of his life as well? Webbs paddled to the surface of the river and cautiously poked his head out. It was dark, with the claws of the clouds mountains blocking most of the moonlight like vast shadowy teeth. He'd been swimming downriver for days. The Sky Kingdom was far away now. The Sky Kingdom and the 5 dragonettes he'd sworn to protect. Webbs dragged his long, aching body out of the river and water and took 3 steps into the forest before he noticed the dark shapes waiting for him. He spun around, but a new dragon loomed out of the river to block his escape. Black spiral patterns marked his green scales, and his teeth gleamed in the moonlight. "Webbs," said the other Sea Wing in a pleasant voice. "I thought you'd never wake up." Webbs drew his talons through the riverbank mud. "Nautilus," he said. He hated the tremble of fear in his voice. "I have important news for the Talons." "You don't say," said Nautilus. "I suppose you got lost on your way to the usual meeting place?" "So we thought we'd come find you," said one of the dark figures in a voice like icicles dripping. "Cirrus," Webbs thought. It was never a good sign when Cirrus the Icewing appeared. "The Skywings found our cave," Webbs said. "Just tell the truth. It's not your fault." And Queen Scarlet took the dragonettes. "Yes," said Nautilus dryly. "We gathered that much from how she's practically been standing on the tallest mountain shouting, 'I have the dragonettes of destiny. They're all mine.'" "Tell us everything," Cirrus hissed. "How did they find you?" "Well," Webb said slowly, "it started when 2 of the dragonettes tried to run away. Maybe 3. He wasn't sure where Glory had been on the night he could only find Starflight and Sunny, but he knew she couldn't have gone into the river with Tsunami and Clay." "Why would they run away?" Nautilus asked sharply. "What did you do to them?" Webbs felt his gills flare. "We kept them alive," he snarled, "and trapped them underground, and chained Tsunami, and planned to kill Glory. But she wasn't part of the prophecy. Because she wasn't part of the prophecy. But what choice did we have?" "Surely you caught the runaways and brought them back," said a voice in the shadows. Webbs recognized Crocodile, a mudwing new to the Talons of Peace. His hopes rose. In his meetings with her, she'd been sympathetic. Perhaps he had one ally here. Webb said. "No, not exactly. They kind of came back on their own to get the others." He cleared his throat. "We weren't expecting that. Kestrel thought they'd be long gone as soon as they'd hit the sky." "It sounds as if they felt like prisoners," Nautilus said in a soft hiss. "You told us to keep them underground," Webbs protested. That was a decision made by all the Talons. "But we wanted them agreeable, not rebellious," said Nautilus. "That was the entire point, wasn't it?" A murmur went around the circle of dragons. There were 7, including Nautilus, as far as Webbs could tell. He wondered if he could fight his way past 7 dragons. "It wasn't our fault," he muttered. "Maybe there's something wrong with them." "What does this have to do with the Skywings?" Cirrus hissed. "The Skywings followed Clay and Tsunami back to the cave," Webbs explained. "That's how Queen Scarlet found us. We tried to fight back, but she killed Dune and took Kestrel along with the dragonettes." "Will she make them fight in her arena?" asked Crocodile. "Can they win?" They're only dragonettes, Sirius growled. Of course they won't survive the arena. Surely she'll spare the Skywing at least, Crocodile said. Webbs flinched. She had never been brave enough to confess to the Talons of Peace that they'd lost their Skywing Dragonet and replaced it with a Rainwing. But now that the dragons were out in the world, everyone would know soon. You know what Queen Scarlet did to all the Skywing Dragonets who hatched on the brightest night? Sirius hissed. Mercy is not exactly in her nature. Webbs raised his head and looked around at the eyes that glittered in the darkness. Can't we go get them? He asked. Maybe if all the Talons attacked at once. His voice faltered. Who was he kidding? He wasn't going to go rushing into the Skywing Palace to die. And he was closer to the Dragonets than any of the Talons who hadn't even met them. All of the Talons, Cyrus hissed. 40 dragons against the 100 Skywing Palace guards? A brilliant plan. No wonder we left the Dragonet in your capable claws. His diamond-shaped head darted up and snapped a bat out of the air. Tiny bones crunched in his teeth. A suicide mission may not be necessary, Nautilus said. Something happened in the Skywing Palace yesterday. We don't have any clear reports yet, but one spy said he thought Queen Scarlet was dead, killed by the Dragonets. Webbs flared his wings in surprise. By my Dragonets? He asked. Maybe they have a talent for escaping, Nautilus said, although another spy was sure they all died trying to fight their way out. Webb's stomach felt as if it were full of poisonous jellyfish. The Dragonets couldn't be dead, not after all he'd given up for the sake of the prophecy, and to save my own scales, a small voice whispered inside him. If they are loose in Fira, how do you suggest we find them? Nautilus asked. Non-suicidal suggestions only, please. Well, for us. You may feel free to kill yourself whenever it's convenient. I don't know, Webbs admitted. He had no idea where the Dragonets might go. He didn't understand why they would want to be on their own, cut off from their protectors. The worst 10 days of his life were the ones between the battle where he had abandoned his queen and the day the Talons had found him. Alone, with no tribe to support them and no Talons to protect them. How would the Dragonets survive? If we can't get the Dragonets back, Nautilus mused, I suppose we'll have to consider our backup plan. He scratched his gills thoughtfully. What backup plan? Webbs asked. The one you don't get to know about, Sirius said. But we have to get them back, Webbs said. They're the Dragonets. They're the only ones who can stop the war. Have a little faith in the prophecy, Webbs, Nautilus said. Yes, don't worry, Crocodile said reassuringly. The Talons of Peace wouldn't put all their eggs in one nest. It's a good backup plan. Webbs looked from one shadowed face to the next. Apart from Crocodile, he saw nothing friendly in the eyes staring at him. I don't understand, he said. Was there another prophecy he didn't know about? Of course, Nautilus said. That means you would be a problem. Webbs barely had time to say what before Sirius was suddenly on his back, pinning him to the ground. His wounds from the Skywing soldiers flared up with bright new pain. One wing was twisted behind him, and he could feel the Icewing serrated claws digging into his scales. What are you doing? Webbs yelped. I'm one of you. I've been with the Talons of Peace for 7 years. And you've failed us, Sirius hissed. Now, Nautilus said, then paused. No, that's fair. I'm going to dig your heart out and feed it to the fish, Sirius growled. Won't that be ironic? Webbs thought gloomily of the fish he'd just eaten. But we are the dragons for peace, he said, his teeth gritted with pain. If we kill each other, aren't we as bad as Burn and Blister and Blaze? Sorry, Webbs, Nautilus said. Peace is more important than any one dragon. And you would disrupt our backup plan. We're doing this for your own good, for the prophecy, for peace. Webbs heard the horrible echo of his own words, the same thing he said to the Dragonets whenever they complained about life under the mountain. It's for your own good. Peace is the most important thing. He'd believed it when he said it. No doubt Nautilus did too. Nautilus gestured with one talus. Sirius, rip out his heart. The jaws of the Icewing sprang open, and Sirius flung Webbs down onto his back. His icicle-sharp claws flexed, ready to tear into Webb's underbelly. Suddenly, Crocodile cannoned into him. knocking Sirius into the undergrowth. Webbs didn't hesitate. He flipped upright and shot into the sky as fast as his wings could carry him. He heard shouts as Crocodile struck out against the dragons around her. He felt a stab of guilt. Should he stay to help her fight? But why go back for death when he had a chance at life? He heard wing beats behind him and flew harder. He imagined Sirius breathing down his tail and Nautilus hissing closer and closer. But it was Crocodile's voice who called out. "Fly, Webbs," she cried. "I've knocked them out. They didn't see that coming." "Ha! Thank you," Webbs called back, twisting to see her heavy brown shape soaring behind him. "Where will you hide?" she asked. He shook his head. "I have no idea. I've heard there's a dragon in Jade Mountain you should go home," she said, tilting her wings to swoop under him. "From what I hear, Queen Coral is in a merciful mood these days." The thrill that ran through Webbs from his horns to tail nearly took his breath away. Home? Back to the sea? After all these years? Is it possible? "She'll never forgive me. Not after everything I did," he said. "It's not just that I deserted her during a battle. She must know I was the one who stole her egg for the prophecy." "You might be surprised," said Crocodile. "Isn't she supposed to be one of the greatest queens in history? That's what all the Sea Wing scrolls say. Perhaps she'll forgive you. Why not take the chance if it means you can go home again?" Webbs was silent. One of the moons was rising, shimmering off his blue-green scales. From up here he could see the ocean, far off in the distance, but it seemed as unreachable as the moon itself. "Up to you," Crocodile said, banking away from him. "I'm just telling you what I've heard. Good luck either way." "Good luck to you too," Webbs called. She vanished into the trees, and he wondered where she would go now. He missed the sea with every scale on his body. He missed the palaces, the currents, the whale songs, the feasts, the gardens, the other Sea Wings. If the Talons are done with me, if I promise her I'll be brave this time, maybe I can go home again. It's the end of the prologue. Okay, I need to take 1 second because, oh my god. I haven't read the prologues of all the books in a very long time. Like, it was a thing for me that I never read the prologues, because the prologues, they're part of the story, but I was more interested in the 5 Dragonettes, because each of the books is about a different dragonette. It's a continuation of the story, but it's from the perspective of a specific dragon in each book. So basically, 1 second, water. So basically, you're reading from a new pair of eyes each time you read one of the books, and I love that. But okay, so I have read that one before, but it was like a very, very long time ago, because I believe that Webbs was actually one of my favorite of the Talons. And speaking of the Talons, anyway, so that was the prologue. I will be reading more, just give me 1 moment. So, the cool thing that I really like about the Wings of Fire series is, like, first off, fucking dragons. Like, oh, I love dragons so much. It's like fucking, oh, it's so cool. So, basically, I want to make sure that I can read every single one of these books in this series, because I just love it to bits. I really, really do. But, there might be times when I take a very, very long break from doing a reading, and I want to tell all of you that if I do that, it's not because I'm stopping reading, I'm just taking a small break, because I do kind of get tired of reading every now and again. So yeah, let me just finish this little thing here. But yeah, so I wanted to talk about the Talons of Peace. Okay, so anybody who really knows me, like in real life, they know that I love dragons. Like I just said, I fucking adore dragons. But there's a big amount of stuff that I absolutely hate about dragons. And if you've ever played Skyrim, you probably know exactly what I'm going to say. It's like the power thing that they have. Like, they have a huge fucking weird power struggle that they always want to get more powerful than the dragons, and they always want to kill each other and all that other shit. And I fucking hate that. Like, just stop. Don't be dicks to each other. Just fucking knock it off. Okay, this is gonna piss me off. I don't know how to fucking fix this. But yeah, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely goddamn ridiculous. So this is one of the books that I first read that actually really got me into dragons, because it's 100% just dragons. There are no humans in this story, as far as I know. It's all dragons. So I immediately get an extreme sense of this is so much cooler than any book I've ever read. Like, because it is. Like, I love this series. It's so fun. Anyway, I'm gonna stop being stupid, because I've just been basically saying the same thing for, like, the past few minutes. So, let me just finish this little thing up, and I will get back to doing my reading. The hell? God damn it. Okay, this is kind of pissing me off. Yeah, okay. It is. It's back to being okay. Alright. Okay. So. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. I don't know what's going on here right now. But, I honestly have no clue what's going on. Oh, okay, okay. I was being stupid for a minute. That's right, yeah? Not really. What is going on? What is... I have no idea. I honestly have no idea what in the fuck is happening to this thing. I have no clue. What? Oh, wait. That's what it was. Okay. Okay, let me go back down here. What in the fuck is it that I'm... Okay, this is completely going wrong because I can't fucking concentrate. Okay. Okay. God damn it. I fucking hate this shit. God fucking... Ugh. I'm gonna fucking kill myself. Okay. And this. And this. And fucking god damn it. It's these fucking things. These aren't supposed to be like that. There we go. Now it's back to the fucking regular order. Okay. Now let me fucking see exactly what went wrong with this. Okay, let me... I hate this so much. I hate everything about this so fucking much. Okay. Let's fix this shit. Okay. So. Stop. Okay. in the fuck? Oh, okay. Never mind. That's right. Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. No. No. Now I'm fucking it all up here. God damn it. Wait. What? Ugh! Okay, this is pissing me off. What? What in the fuck? Oh. Okay, never mind. It was just that. Alright. How in the hell did I fuck this up so bad? That's why. Okay, now it's better. What? How? Oh! Oh my god! I'm gonna kill myself. I hate this. Thing about this. What is... Okay. I'm gonna fucking die. What in the fuck is going on right now? Why is this happening to me? There it is! Fuck! Okay, that's better. There. Okay. Now, let's read the first chapter, because I took way too long on this. We probably only get to like chapter 4. So yeah. Chapter 1. A wave roared onto the beach and crushed around Tsunami's talons. Her webbed claws sank into the wet sand, her blue wings billowed in the wind. She lifted her head, breathing in the wild sea air. This was where she was supposed to be. This was her ocean. Let me guess, Glory said mockingly behind her. You guys, that's the smell of freedom. Freedom smells a lot like fish, Starflight observed. Which, to be clear, is kind of nose-curlingly awful. I love it, Tsunami said. This was what the talons of peace had stolen from her. They'd kept her trapped in the stale, dreary air under the mountains her whole life. when she was meant to be out here, flying and swimming and living like a real sea wing. Starflight glanced up at the sky and edged back toward the dark foliage that lined the beach. Shouldn't we stay under the trees? What if a patrol spots us? I mean, he stopped and took a deep breath. We must stay under the trees, alright? Yes, everyone back into the trees right now. The others ignored him, although Sunny gave him a pitying glance. Tsunami bent her head to study the waves washing over her talons. Small shapes, silver and green and yellow, darted through the shallows. The ocean smelled much more alive than the cave river. Was it only a week since they'd run from their guardians? It was hard to remember exactly how long they'd been trapped in the Skywing prison. But there was one thing Tsunami remembered clearly, the sound of bone snapping under her talons. She poked a hole in the sand with her claws. I had to kill that Sea-Wing. Queen Scarlet forced us to fight. There was no other way out of the arena. He was crazy. It was him or me. The same thoughts kept circling in her head like lame-winged dragons. She shook her head and flared her wings. This was ridiculous. Was she a dragon or a scavenger? Dragons were meant to be fierce warriors. One little death shouldn't rattle her so much. Besides, Glory had done worse with her deadly venom, and she didn't seem bothered at all. You know what I love? Clay said mournfully. Fish. Lots of fish. Big fish I can eat. Not these little wriggly scraps. The Mudwing sat down on the sand beside Tsunami. His stomach growled loud enough for all of them to hear. Sunny giggled. Clay, it's only been a day since you caught that enormous pig for all of us. Wasn't enormous, Clay said. He sighed, his wings drooping. That was the smallest pig in the whole world. You should have eaten my carrots. Sunny clambered up to sit on his back and peer out at the ocean. The sun was just rising in a peach-pale sky, casting broken paths of light across the water. Two of the moons, barely slivers like thin claws, were vanishing behind the mountains. I'm serious, everybody, Starflight said. It's not safe out on the beach, not with all the Mudwings and Skywings looking for us. The Nightwing was standing well out of reach of the waves, trying to shake sand off his talons. As far as Tsunami was concerned, they'd already wasted a day flying south of the Diamond Spray Delta, basically because Starflight had worried and complained until everyone agreed. Yes, the Skywings were after them. Yes, they were probably mad about the Dragonette's escape from the Skywing prison, and they were definitely mad about the part where Glory maybe killed their queen on the way out. But Tsunami didn't want to keep running. She wanted to find her family. Once they knew who she was sure the Sea-Wings would protect her and her friends. Most of all, she really wanted Starflight to stop fretting, complaining, and bossing. It made the others nervous and harder to organize. She almost wished the Nightwings hadn't given him back. Why are you so worried? Tsunami asked him. If they don't recapture us, won't your Nightwing friends come swooping in to rescue you again? Starflight flutters his wings indignantly. I'm not worried for me, he said. I'm trying to keep all of us safe. He glanced at Sunny and ducked his head. See, Starflight is like the fucking embodiment of me. Alright? No joke at all. I am Starflight as a fucking person. Oh my god, he's so adorable. I'm keeping us safe just fine, Tsunami protested. When have I ever led us wrong? Well, Glory pointed out, there was that one time we got captured by Skywings and the Queen nearly killed us all. Tsunami smacked a tail into the water to send a cold wave over Glory. The Rainwing hissed and jumped away from the sea. Stop it, Sunny said. Stop fighting, all of you. Clay, stop them. She patted the top of his head to pull his attention back from the tiny fish swimming around his feet. Oh yes, let's hear from our big wings, Glory teased. Her scales this morning were gold like Sunny's, but with drifting splashes of ocean blue. She sat down and yawned at Tsunami, displaying her venom-spitting teeth. Hey, Clay said, nudging Tsunami's wings with his own. It's all right for Starflight to worry. We don't even know if Queen Scarlet is alive or dead, but, he added quickly, I know you want to find the Sea-Wings as fast as possible, so let's find them instead of fighting about it, and then we can get to safety sooner. Tsunami shot one more narrowed-eyed look at Starflight, then turned back to the ocean. Tsunami's a fucking tsundere or some shit. I could never get a read on Tsunami. She's always, like, kind of dickish. Anyway. Clay was right. The important thing was to find her family and a safe place for them all to hide. Oh, Glory said, so wise and big. I think he is, Sunny said, wrapping her forearms around Clay's neck. Starflight sat down, flipping his tail around his talons unhappily. Glory settled her sun-coloured wings. So now what? Shot your missing princess! And wait for dragons to pound joyfully out of the ocean? With a feast! Clay. There was a feast at the end of the story when the missing Seawing princess got home. Her parents were so happy they made a feast. I remember the feast. They ate a whole whale. It was a good feast. I bet I could eat a whole whale. Do you think we'll get a feast? The missing princess was just a story in a scroll, Starflight said. We have no idea what we'll actually find in the Kingdom of the Sea. That's true. Clay's wings drooped. It might not be what you're hoping for, Snowmy. Like finding out my mother sold me for a cow. Yeah, that was sad. Hey, said Glory. It was at least 2 cows. Comforting, said Clay. It wouldn't be like that for Tsunami. She was sure of it. Maybe Clay's dreams of his family had turned out all wrong, but hers would be perfect. Especially now that she knew her egg had been stolen from the royal hatchery. She was the daughter of the Seawing Queen. Not only that, but according to Starflight, none of the Queen's other female dragonettes had survived to adulthood. Tsunami was the only living heir to the Seawing Kingdom. One day, she would be Queen of the Seawings. True, that meant one day she'd have to fight her own mother to the death to become queen, but that day could be as far off as she wanted it to be. Not something she had to think about now. See, that's another thing. Why the fuck do they have to fight? Why? Is that something that is, like, you have to fucking do? Like, is there not a thing where, oh, she got too old and she fucking died. Now it's time for me to take over? No, they've got to fucking kill each other. Why do they have to do that? It's so goddamn ridiculous. I fucking hate it. It's so stupid. Anyway. She spread her wings and breathed in the salt spray air again. Out of the corner of her eyes, she kept seeing tiny creatures pop out of the speckled sand and then vanish again. I could just dive in and look for the Seawing Palace, Tsunami suggested. Out there? Starflight sounded alarmed. He spread his wings and shook the sand off of them, blinking anxiously. What else do you suggest I find the Seawings? She asked. Swimming in the ocean is not like swimming in an underground cave river, Starflight lectured. There are such strong currents, unpredictable waves, and big things with teeth. I'm a big thing with teeth. Tsunami grinned at him. He didn't laugh. It's not safe, he said. What if we lose you? Tsunami wanted to poke his wrinkled up, worried snout with her sharpest claw. She's a dick. Starflight, cheer up, Sunny interjected. Tsunami can do anything. And how is she supposed to get home to her family if she can't go into the sea? Oh no! Clay heaved himself to his feet, scattering sand and nearly dislodging Sunny, who grabbed his neck with a yelp. Sand and seashells and tiny, astonished crabs flew through the air as he lashed his tail. Ow, stop that! Glory commanded, covering her eyes. What about us? Clay's big brown wings flapped. I didn't think of that. Tsunami, we can't go with you to the Seawing Palace. We can't breathe down there. How can we stick together if you're underwater? He clawed at the water, leaving deep gouges in the wet sand. What are we gonna do? Tsunami kind of adored Clay when he was in a tizzy. She also adored it that it had taken an entire day for it to occur to him that the Kingdom of the Sea was underwater. Seriously? Glory said to Clay. All those geography lessons and not a single one sunk in. Clay turned in a confused circle as Crab scurried out of the way of his giant talons. What? The Seawings have an above-water palace too, Starflight said in his "See, you should have studied more" voice. So they can receive guests like the Seawing Ally Blister. Sandwing Ally Blister. It's on an island somewhere in the Bay of 1,000 Scales. Oh, Clay sat down with a whooshing sigh. Sunny patted his shoulder. I didn't remember that either, she offered. So we go there, right? Not easily, Starflight said. Both Seawing palaces, underwater and on land, are well hidden. That's how they've lasted so long in this war. Even though they don't have fire like the other tribes, nobody can find them to attack their homes. Sounds like the Nightwings, Glory sniped. It's nothing like the Night Wings, Tsunami cried. Sea Wings aren't trying to act all mysterious and pretentious. They're just being sensible about guarding their home. There are over thousands of islands to search, but it's still probably... Starflight stopped mid-sentence and glanced at the sky again. Does anyone else smell fire? Three Moon, Starflight. I'm not hiding in the trees every time some little thing spooks you, Tsunami said. I think he's right, Sunny said, lifting her head. I hear wing beats. I do too, Starflight said. The spiny ridge along his back stood up in alarm, and he bolted for the trees, running as fast as he could. From this far away, Tsunami said skeptically, I don't see anything up there. Shit. But just as she said it, she spotted a cluster of red specks like spattered blood in the sky, winging down from the mountains in the northeast. A Skywing patrol was coming their way. Chapter 2. Quick, into the water, Tsunami ordered. It was closer than the trees and would hide them just as well. No way, said Glory. She sank into the ground, spreading her wings and shifted color. Her scales flowed into the rocky, sandy patterns below her until she was impossible to see, especially from the air. It happened so fast, Tsunami nearly lost track of where she was. Glory was getting better at that trick. Fine, come on, Sunny. Tsunami reached for the little sandwing. I'd rather not, she squeaked. I can make it back to the trees. I'll fly really fast. She nodded off Clayback and flapped up to Starflight. Tsunami stamped her foot, spraying ocean water across the sand. Glory made a muffled, grumpy noise. It'll be safer in the sea, Tsunami huffed. She cast a worried look at the sky. The specks were getting closer and closer, fast. Maybe faster than Sunny could hide. But it was too late to catch her now. Tsunami turned and dove into the ocean. Clay was already burrowing into the shallow mud shelf, displacing startled flat fish and sending up clouds of minnows. The Mudwing didn't have a problem with water like the others did, since he could hold his breath for up to an hour. Tsunami breathed in, and salt water rushed into her gills. It surprised her how sharp it felt, like inhaling smoke. It was nothing like the crystal clear water of the underground cave. What's more, the current kept trying to shove her back to the beach, then yank her out again. But she plowed forward and down, past Clay, beating her wings as the water got deeper. Schools of tiny purple fish whirled away from her like stars exploding over the edge of the sand shelf. The deeper ocean floor was covered in bundles of eelgrass. Waving dark green tendrils reached up to brush Tsunami's underbelly. She glanced up at the sky above her, still empty, and decided to risk surfacing. She had to be sure Sunny was safely hidden. The thunder of wing beats echoed in her ears as she poked her head and turned toward the beach. The little sandwing was almost to safety. Tsunami could see Starflight standing under the trees, reaching in front claws to pull Sunny in. Overhead, an orange shape shot past, flying at full Skywing speed, faster than any other tribe could fly. A red dragon flew close behind the first, followed by three more. Their enormous wings nearly blotted out the sun as they whooshed over the dragonette's heads. Tsunami sank a bit lower into the water, but it seemed like the patrol was going too fast to notice a lone sea wing in the ocean. Maybe these soldiers went hunting for the escaped prisoners. Then she saw the last dragon. Sunset orange, flames flickering from his nose, and a jagged tear at the tip of his left wing. He flew slower than the others, bringing up the rear, and his head swung back and forth, dark eyes searching the ground below them. Tsunami found herself holding her breath. The Skywing's snout swung toward the trees just as Sunny's tail whisked out of sight. He paused, beating his wings back to hover in the air for a moment. Was he staring at the trees? Had he seen Sunny? What if he called the others back? The patrol dragons were several wing beats away already, but one shout could bring them hurling around at lightning speed. Sunny and Starflight were no match for
I make Minecraft videos too.
1 second. That's nice. Starflight were no match for 6 full-grown Skywing soldiers. Actually, they were no match for 1 Skywing soldier. The 2 of them together would probably have trouble flying like a sleepy bat. Fighting a sleepy bat. A curl of smoke rose from
What are you doing?
Reading. If you take a look at the name of the episode, you could understand that. That's what I'm doing. It's Minecraft story time. A curl of smoke rose from the Skywing's nose and he opened his mouth. If there was any chance of saving her friend, Tsunami had to shut him up. She burst out of the water in a great leap, smashing her tail behind her for momentum. Her wings powered her up to ram right into the Skywing's underbelly. He coughed out a puff of fiery smoke and clutched his midsection, the breath knocked out of him. Tsunami had a few moments before he could recover enough to call for help. She ducked around him, slammed her tail into his head, and landed on his back as hard as she could. The Skywing nearly fell into the water, but he fought back up into the air. Tsunami kicked at his wings with the claws and slid down back toward his tail, trying to drag him down with her weight. He was too big and too strong for her up here. Only taking him by surprise had given her a temporary advantage. She needed to get him into the ocean to even out the fight. The orange dragon snarled and twisted, shooting a blast of flames out of his snout which barely missed her. Tsunami yanked him down toward the water, but his massive wings beat harder and harder. It felt like a hurricane whistling around her ears. She could tell he was gaining height, and in a moment he'd be strong enough to call the other soldiers back. "You're not getting my friend," Tsunami thought fiercely. She found the vulnerable spot on his tail and sank her teeth in. He convulsed in pain, nearly throwing her off, and shot another blast of fire under his wing at her. At first Tsunami thought he had missed, then she felt a searing trail of agony spreading along her neck. It felt as if someone were trying to saw through her scales with a scalding hot wire. She closed her eyes and clamped her jaw harder, determined... One second. Water. Ouch. Determined to hang on, although spots were starting to dance in her vision. Suddenly the dragon lurched toward the sea. Tsunami's eyes flew open. Clay had flung himself between her and the dragon's snout. Spreading his fireproof wings, his claws clamped on the Skywing's back, and the extra weight drove the soldier down and down toward the sea. Together, Clay and Tsunami dragged the Skywing into the ocean. He fought wildly the whole way, but his flames couldn't hurt Clay's fire-resistant scales, and his giant wings couldn't help him once he was underwater and cut off from breathing. As soon as they hit the water, Tsunami swam to the Skywing's head and held it below the surface until he stopped thrashing. She let go, and so did Clay. The dragon's body began to drift slowly towards the sea floor. A shudder rippled through Tsunami's scales. Him or me. This didn't feel right. Why couldn't she be ferocious and not care? She swam after the dragon and grabbed one of his wings, then looked back up at Clay. He met her eyes, and to her relief, he didn't even hesitate before swimming to the other wing. They dragged the Skywing up onto the beach. The current had carried them further away than Tsunami had guessed, and it was painfully hard to swim back to shore, especially with a full-grown dragon weighing them down. She gritted her teeth, ignored her exhaustion and the pain from the burn on her neck. She was a sea wing. This was supposed to be her element. She was the boss of the ocean, not the other way around. By the time they reached the beach, the rest of the patrol had vanished from sight. She wondered how long it would be before they noticed this one missing and came back to look for him. Tsunami collapsed onto the sand beside the Skywing. Clay peered into the dragon's snout, then started thumping his chest. "What is wrong with you?" Glory's voice snapped. The Rainwing materialized from the sandy underground, turning her scales darker shade of brown so they could all see her. She glared at Tsunami. "Why did you do that?" "Oh, you're welcome," Tsunami said. "Just saving you as usual." "By attacking random dragons?" Glory cried. In another moment they would have been gone. "And what are you doing?" She jabbed Clay in the side with one of her wings. Clay mumbled. "Fixing him." He kept thumping the Skywing's chest. "What?" Glory yelped. "You can't let him live." She tried to grab one of Clay's forearms, but Tsunami shoved her away. "We don't have to kill him," Tsunami said. "We'll tie him up and leave him here." "Great," Glory said. "How about a trail of cow parts, too? Maybe a map where we're going? Or perhaps we could set this part of the forest on fire, just to make sure everyone knows how to find us. Would you like me to spell out Dragonette's was here in giant rocks?" "Fine," Tsunami said. "Here he is. You kill him." Glory looked down at the unconscious dragon and hesitated. "I don't kill dragons who can't fight back," she said finally. "Why not?" Tsunami said. "Just splat some venom on his face and melt him if that's easy for you." Glory sank her close into the sand, scowling. Bubbles of dark purple began spreading across her scales. Sunny and Starflight landed on the beach beside them. Sunny gave the Skywing a horrified look, and Tsunami remembered that she'd been trapped in another part of the palace during the arena fights. She'd never seen her friends battle another dragon. "Is he all right?" Sunny asked Clay. "Try this," Starflight offered, coming over to help. Clay shifted aside, and they rolled the dragon onto his stomach. "Why did you attack him?" Sunny blurted at Tsunami. The little sandwing's harmless tail flicked back and forth anxiously. "To save you," Tsunami said, stung. "But he wasn't even doing anything," Sunny protested. "He was just flying by." All four of them were looking at Tsunami like she was the kind of dragon who hid under rocks and bit innocent passerbys for fun. She arched her back indignantly. I thought he saw you, she growled. He was about to call out to the others. I saw him open his mouth. So did I, said Glory. I'm pretty sure he was yawning. Pretty sure, Tsunami said. Would you risk our lives on pretty sure? Was he yawning? Did I attack him for nothing? That can't be right. I saw danger and reacted appropriately, didn't I? Maybe if you just stop to think for a second, Starflight, stop. Or forever, like you. Think, think, think. Worry, worry, never do anything, Tsunami cried. The Skywing suddenly coughed and seawater flooded out of his snout. Clay ruffled his wings with a pleased expression. Oh, wonderful. Our enemy will survive. Well done. We have to get out of here, Glory said. She took a step back and glanced at the sky where the other soldiers had disappeared. So what do we do with him now, oh great leader? Tsunami had no idea. She glanced around frantically. Maybe if they could find some vines to tie him up with. There's a tree, Starflight said, jumping to his feet. In the forest. No way, Glory said. A tree? In the forest? Being sarcastic is not helping, Tsunami snapped at her. I mean, a fallen tree, Starflight said. We can use it. We can use it. Glory, stay and guard him. Clay and Tsunami, come on, quick. Clay charged up the beach behind him. Tsunami paused for a moment. She didn't like leaving the soldier, even if he wasn't fully awake yet. She also didn't particularly like taking orders from Starflight. Go on, hurry, Sunny said, nudging her with one wing. Not far into the forest, a large tree had fallen, with the top of its branches brushing the stand. Clay and Tsunami shoved and rolled it onto the beach and dragged it back to the Skywing, where Starflight flapped around, squawking instructions. Okay, as if we need to be told how to move a tree. Tsunami thought grumpily. The soldier's eyes were blinking awake as they reached him. He coughed and coughed again, lifting his head to peer groggily at the dragonets. So how does the tree help? Tsunami asked. We put it on top of him, Starflight said. So he'll be trapped in place, at least long enough for us to get away. Tsunami hated to admit it, but it was a good idea. She helped Clay wrestle the tree over until it lay heavily across the orange dragon's back and wings. The Skywing tried to push himself up, but the tree kept him pinned to the sand. What if he's stuck here forever? Sunny worried. She reached over and brushed some sand off the Skywing's snout. He snorted a puff of smoke and Clay pulled her back. Maybe we should just let him go. We can't do that, Tsunami said. I wish you hadn't attacked him, Sunny said, ducking her head. Me too, said Glory. It wasn't the smartest move, Starflight agreed. Tsunami's gills flared and she spread her wings. You don't know that, she said. Maybe I saved us. Again. She looked at Clay, but he only shrugged as if he wasn't sure. Thanks for the support, guys. Tsunami thought angrily, when all I'm trying to do is keep everyone safe. Alright, I'm going to stop at chapter 3. It's on page 22. I hope you all enjoyed listening to me do this. I really, really love this series. Where is a bookmark? Crap. I can't find a bookmark. I'll put that in here for now. Alright. So, I'd like to thank you all so much for watching this. I hope you all had fun. Thank you, and like, comment, and subscribe for more story time.